So in the course of this investigation, the committee will interact with the following MDAs, and if there are more, we will call them. Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ministry of Trade and Investment, Central Bank of Nigeria, Development Bank of Nigeria, Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Development Agency, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, NASAL. NASAL is also under the Central Bank of Nigeria, and also the COVID-19 intervention fund, how it was disbursed. We will look at it. Distinguished colleagues, know that working together as a team is our strength. Let us all remain focused, be open-minded, and collaborate to ensure we deliver on this assignment. As I welcome you to this maiden meeting of the Ad hoc Committee on Uneven Disbursement of Loans to 6 Geopolitical Regions by Development Bank of Nigeria, DBN, I say I am grateful for the trust bestowed on us and mindful of the enormous tasks and challenges ahead of the Ad hoc Committee. You may recall that this Ad hoc Committee was constituted by the resolution of the Senate at the plenary on Wednesday, 16 November 2022. The purpose of today's meeting is to map out strategies and modalities that will serve as a guide to effectively assist the Ad hoc Committee in executing this onerous task. The assignment seems to be very daunting, but the patriotism, cooperation, and commitment, we shall succeed. Permit me to say, national economies are driven the world over by micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises, MSMEs, and they are the defining factors in the fortunes and future of any nation. Nigeria not an exception. The wealth of emerging economies today hinges on the effectiveness of their MSMEs and the environment in which they operate. The establishment of the Development Bank of Nigeria, sometimes in September 2014, was to drive such a noble cause. Therefore, not a mistake. It was a good idea conceived by the federal government in collaboration with global development partners to address the major financing challenges facing the MSMEs in the country. These partners are World Bank, African Development Bank, KfW Development Bank, KfW Development Bank, French Agency for Development, and European Investment Bank. Distinguished colleagues, be aware that the objective of the bank is to alleviate financing constraints faced by MSMEs and small corporates in Nigeria through the provision of financing and partial credit guarantees to eligible financial intermediaries on a market-conforming and fully financially sustainable basis. But this worries is the disbursement. Methodology employed by the banks and the lack of awareness of its operation. Not every MSMEs in the regions, especially the North, knows about the bank. I've taken my time to study the motion and painstakingly came up with the following terms of reference to guide the committee, though subject to further amendments. 1, to examine the source of funding of the bank, including contributions from development partners, to assess and evaluate the criteria that qualifies MSMEs to access the loan and at what interest rates. 3, to review the total amount disbursed to beneficiaries from inception to date and total recovery, if any. The Ad hoc Committee will leave no stone unturned. We will effectively and thoroughly investigate the activities and the operations of the bank to ascertain if it conforms to its establishment and ascertain if due diligence was followed in the execution of its mandate. Because of the nature of this assignment, we cannot just only look at disbursements when it comes to intervention with DBN alone, Development Bank of Nigeria alone. Because when you are looking at how the disbursement goes on regional basis, then you must also look at how the Bank of Industry and other financial interventions that the government or the central bank has done in order to come out with a more holistic investigation to ascertaining which region benefited more or which region is being neglected.
So what I will only add is that the issue, this motion, as already done by the chairman, will lead to the holistic investigation that is necessary in order to address the issues or problems that might arise or we may discover. But as I said in the motion, this is just part of it as to what is happening in financial institutions that government deliberately created in order to address the issue of poverty in this country. But unfortunately, you can see what happened in DBN. It's not an allegation, but I presented facts, which I attached to the motion. On that publication was the startup. When I saw the publication, I decided to wait till 14 days to see if the DBN will respond. You know, when somebody writes something and it has gone viral, it is expected that the institution concerned will now come out to say, no, these are not the facts of the matter. This is our institution. Yes. This is what we have done, and this is what we are planning to do. But they have not done that. It is only recently maybe somebody was trying to get to explain. And I told them, it is before the committee that will explain all these things to our greatest understanding. And as the chairman said, we are not, this committee was not formed to witch hunt or look out for anybody, no. But to help as an institution that is charged with oversight of activities in total. We have a job to do, and we really need to do it. I'm confident of this committee, and I will be there providing the necessary information. And as I said, the first thing that we do is to visit their website, Development Bank of Nigeria. If you just Google it, you will get there.
One incontrovertible fact about our country is that the only way our economy can grow is through the MSMEs. Anything that has to do with development of MSMEs in Nigeria certainly will, in totality, come to the development of our country, particularly our economy. If, of course, you have, by its letter and objective, the establishment of the Development Bank of Nigeria is to ensure that it brings even development. And using certain criteria, as I saw in paragraph, I think the 5th paragraph of that motion, that some of the considerations, the sectors that were considered for the disbursement of that loan, in fact, we were just talking a while ago, you can see the first disbursement of the 5 billion that was made, through the PFIs that you mentioned. There already was injustice, unfairness. You could see it. And if you look at that paragraph, that the 5 sectors considered for the loan, but you mentioned something, Chairman, we are really going to look at the criteria as a committee. Good to look at the criteria. First, let us even look at the philosophy behind this loan. After we see after we evaluate that, what is the original intention of this loan? It is possible, by the time we see the intention, one set of people from one particular part of Nigeria will just be eligible. Then we, of course, cannot question that because it is set objective. But if it is that it's supposed to be distributed looking at the criteria. This committee will look at the criteria. They will come and now see the deviation from the mean by the DBN. But looking at the 5 sectors, I saw it very clearly that oil and gas, 42%. Manufacturing, 60%. Agriculture, forestry, fisheries, 7.2%. Trade and commerce. If we look at the way our country is and the disposition of economic activities, we would have expected that what was being bandied by DBN in this report as 47% going to one state, you're going to wonder why it has to be so. So if you look at it, there's inequity already.
This is coming late, but they say it's better late than never, because in the first instance, what has happened shouldn't have happened if really the parliament is awake to what it is. For example, this bank we say is development bank. What is development? Growth is different from development. Obviously, Lagos is where you expect growth to happen, and every economy is there. But development is more robust than growth. Development drive is essentially inclusiveness. And inclusiveness, in fact, those on the lower rung are better brought up to even up before you can get development. So this development bank is not disbursing this loan to serve the philosophy of what that bank is meant to be. But I will say something. Look, development bank is under the executives, and these guys, they will do their work in a manner that is convenient for them, in the manner, the way they are motivated. They'll go through the easy route. And that's what they do. Incidentally, in a democracy, distinguished colleagues, the job of a democracy is to make sure that the legislature is at the center of that democracy, where the people are represented. It's only the legislature that must have that bird-eye view to look at the country economically, politically, socially, and say, what's going on? How can we make sure that everybody, everywhere, regardless of class, religion, location, interest, is protected, because everybody is represented here. So it's our job to always say, this thing is not being done right. How do we do it right to make sure that it serves everybody? So I think that even though it's late, we have allowed this to have happened, but it's good that we are doing this. And I do think that this is beyond development bank. This indeed happens almost in all sectors in this country. And I think this motion should serve as an opportunity for us to broadly look at all the issues that affect citizens of this country, and how uneven distribution of resources, opportunities are being shared.
Development Bank defined as a bank that helped the young to grow. Like the position of my colleagues, if loans and grants are made available to be spread across the nation and is concentrated in one particular state or zone, this is what the Senate say is unacceptable. Like, mistake has been made, like one of my colleagues that just said, the executive do it the way they want it to be done. They don't canvass for votes. We canvass for votes. And we are living among the poor. All our people are in the state of they are in the state of poverty. But Nigerians are hardworking set of Maoris. They have the right tools to work. They can access capital through the banks, through the conventional banks. And then we now have development banks. And money are made available. We believe they should concentrate on the rural areas and ensure that the rural area communities are well funded to add value to the economy. There are other intervention funds, not only in Development Bank of Nigeria. You have in NISA. There are many intervention funds that have been made available, even during the 7th Senate, ninth Senate. There are intervention funds that committees supervising most of these agencies ask senators to provide names of people in their constituency who were seized the loan. Like NISAL, COVID-19 intervention funds. You have the small-scale, medium enterprises. You also have Bank of Industry. There are international funding that pass through all these financial institutions. But what do we get? We don't get the feeling in our constituency. There was a recent one through the World Bank to some states prior to election activities. We were informed that many Nigerians who don't have money to do business should apply. They apply, and they say it's 3.2 million for each beneficiary. And these were given state by state. But today, we don't know how that fund has been managed. We found out the final analysis that few people who got it got only 100 beneficiaries in a whole state, where they should have about 4,000 or 5,000 beneficiaries per state. Virtually, only 100 are given at the rate of 300,000 naira instead of 3.2 million. These are some of the questions I believe this committee should beam searchlight on to know what are the modalities, what is the source of these grants. There are some grants. What is the source? Who are the beneficiaries? Beneficiaries per state. What is the beneficiary per state? Imam said, I want to know. I'm interested to know. Why am I here representing them? Man needs to knock door and the door to be open for them. But like Riley said, we are legislators. We make laws. We are to oversight their activities to ensure that right things are done. Mr. Chairman, I believe the work program you put in place, like the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, then you talk about the Central Bank of Nigeria. There are a lot of intervention through the CBN. Who are the beneficiaries? We have 37 states, including FCT, 37 states. How many states benefit from all different types of programs? These are some of the things I believe this committee should be able to beam searchlight on and ensure that right things are done in the future. And this is my position, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
We have ordered like a Bank of Industry too. There are, I'm the chief ombudsman of the Senate. I have petition against them. They are my kitty now. How do they distribute this money? Like, I even laid a petition in the Senate today about a fund provided and National Assembly provided appropriation. And the DG refused to even do it in other states. So where are the funding? These are some of the things we have to be such on to ensure that our people get benefits of this thing and improve our economy.
I can see most of us have spoken almost on the same lane. We're going to DBN website and see what they have put in there, but that is not enough. The unemployment rate at this, in this country, if these things have been deliberately is being executed the way they should be, we wouldn't have been having this high rate of unemployment in this country. And then the unfair distribution, the injustices and bias disbursements, I think it's something that we will look at. And when we are talking about one region having everything, does not end there, because, okay, if the other intervention agencies also are looking at another region, so we would not be able to balance it. So the only way we can balance this thing, as you mentioned, rightly mentioned, a distinguished colleague, is that we will have to look at other agencies or other organizations that have also been charged to do the same. I'm made to understand that DBN, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, and NASAL and other agencies all do the same. So if by the time we bring all these intervention agencies together and see how they did the disbursement, we'll be able at that point to know which region is being neglected and which region is being given priority. But the priority should be for all Nigerians, for all regions. We should not segregate And I believe at the end of our assignment, we'll be able to come out with facts that Nigerians will believe in what we have done. And those responsible to do it, as you said, the executive will be up and doing from then, because under my chairmanship, I don't think there's anything we will cover. And I want to make it very clear that with the support I will get from my distinguished colleagues, my ranking senators here, I will be able to do this job without fear or favor.